recently saw a short piece on the internet which said accounts payable, which is also known as accounts receivable. No, it's not, I screamed. That's like saying sugar, which is also known as salt, for a cookie recipe. You can just imagine how awful those treats would taste if that substitution was made. A good understanding of each, along with their differences, is critical to anyone who works in accounting, finance, of course, accounts payable or accounts receivable. Very simply put, accounts payable is about cash going out, while accounts receivable is about cash coming in, or at least it is if the credit and collection staff is doing a good job. Stick around because in a short bit, I'll show you how the timing of the accounts receivable and the accounts payable decisions can actually impact your company's credit rating. Okay, a basic explanation. To be a little bit more precise, both are considered short-term when it comes to where they go on the balance sheet. The accounting folks use the term current to indicate anything due in less than 12 months. So accounts receivable is the current asset that reflects the money owed the company by its customers, while accounts payable is the current liability reflecting the money the organization owes its suppliers and vendors. Now that we've defined them, let's talk about organization chart. Who owns accounts payable and accounts receivable inside the business, and does it matter? So when it comes to their place in the corporate structure, the accounts payable team almost always reports to the controller, sometimes an assistant controller. In a few organizations, it is part of the procure to pay group and will sometimes have the accounts payable manager reporting to the head of the procurement team. The accounts payable team is frequently tasked with also handling expense reporting, reimbursements, and issuing 1099s to independent contractors. Two not so fun jobs, but necessary. On the other side of the street, the accounts receivable team is generally part of the credit and collections team and is most likely to report to the controller, although occasionally they will report to the CFO, Chief Financial Officer. The group is also likely to handle billing. In a few forward-thinking organizations, the credit team is part of a group called Financial Customer Service. It is not unusual to find a successful professional working in one of these groups with experience in the other. It gives them a good understanding for dealing with the organization's critical partners. And we're going to discuss critical partners a little further on in this discussion. Now, let's talk metrics because as you've probably heard, if you don't measure it, you can't manage it and you can't improve it. And we're going to talk about why a great DPO, days payable outstanding, might actually not be a good thing because it might scare off investors, which your management team will definitely not be happy about. So when it comes to the effectiveness of the process, accounts payable and accounts receivable have very different metrics used to determine how good or bad a job the team is doing and if they're improving. The accounts receivable team is measured by DSO, which stands for Days Sales Outstanding, and measures how good or bad the collection group is doing in collecting the organization's receivables. This measurement has to be put in perspective, though, and specifically, it needs to be viewed in comparison to the organization's offered payment terms. If the organization is offering payment terms of net 30, you can expect a good team to see its DSO in the 30s, ideally lower than 35 or 36, but a lot of it will depend upon your industry, the market, the competition, etc. The team that managed to achieve that would be considered to be doing a great job. Now compare this with something like the food industry where payment terms might be net 10 or net 7. In that case, a DSO in the 30s would be horrible. In some cases, the collection team's bonus and the credit department's bonus may actually be tied to DSO. Meanwhile, the accounts payables group's main measurement metric is DPO, or as we said earlier, days payable outstanding. This is a measure of how long it takes the organization to pay its bills. Now, while at first glance you might think that the longer the DSO is the better because you're holding on to your money longer, that is not always true. Why? because investors look at the DPO figure when evaluating the organization, and having too long or too high a DPO might lead them to conclude that the organization is having cash flow issues and is not making its payments on time. And by the way, when a credit professional is analyzing credit, trying to decide what credit to extend to your organization, this is one of the figures that they'll look at. Again, when analyzing the DPO figure to determine if it's good or bad, it must be viewed in the context of the average payment terms offered to the organization by its suppliers. Like DSO, expect DPO to be a little higher than the terms offered. Coming attraction, the AP mistake that could cost your business millions each year if you're not aware of it and not on top of it. So we're going to move on and talk about the biggest problems each group faces. And as you might imagine, they are different. The two groups have different issues that cause them problems. Accounts receivable folks are always worried about non-payment or bad debt. It is an expected part of most businesses, but they still have to be on guard to make sure it stays as low as possible. Otherwise, their organization will go out of business. While non-payments are certainly a huge issue, late payments can also create cash flow problems. Often, to get those funds in the door means hiring special staff to make collection calls or turning the item over to a collection agency, which is usually considered a last resort. Both are expensive, but sometimes unavoidable. Meanwhile, the folks in accounts payable are harangued by duplicate copies of the same invoice, which can result in duplicate payment that is sometimes not returned, by the way. And that is only one of the causes for duplicate payments, but one that is on the rise. And many management teams are not fully aware of this, nor are they taking any steps to help. The payable staff must verify the accuracy of the invoices submitted for payment, and when there is a discrepancy, they also have to work to resolve those discrepancies in a timely manner. Both groups, like most of the rest of the organization, have issues with fraud and must remain vigilant to guard against it. The accounts payable teams have been targeted in recent years by many new frauds, resulting in the needs for increased verifications, although again, few organizations are adding staff to handle the additional workload. All right, let's pivot now a little bit and take a look at the role of technology. Both of these groups are seeing applications being delivered to help their staff do a more effective job. The accounts receivable folks have long had software to help them manage credit, invoicing, and collection effort. And you've probably all heard in the consumer market about credit scoring applications. Different companies use different levels of technology in their credit and collections effort. On the other side of the equation, there has been rapid development of the accounts payable and procure-to-pay automation solutions. These tools have come a long way and are now quite cost-effective and much simpler to implement and use than the first versions that were out on the market. Those first versions were clunky, expensive, and required a massive amount of time to implement as well as train your staff to use, and they were expensive. But that is not the case anymore. Today, these applications are quite user-friendly. Now I want to turn our attention and talk about interactions that the two groups have with critical partners. Both accounts payable and accounts receivable deal with partners who are critical to the successful operation of the organization. Accounts receivable deals with the organization's customers, the folks who buy the products and services produced by the organization. Without them, there would be no organization and no accounts payable or accounts receivable. Yet, if they don't pay for what they purchase, the company will quickly go up in smoke. So the accounts receivable staff walks a very delicate line. They have to collect the money that's owed, but at the same time, they need to try and avoid offending the customers whose purchases keep the organization running. It can be a tricky balance, often made more difficult by a sales staff who believe that any sale is a good thing. That is why credit department and sales department are often at each other's throats, with the credit department trying to get the sales folks to understand that a sale is a gift until the invoice is paid. And no organization, by the way, can afford too many gifts. The accounts payable staff deals regularly with another critical partner, the organization's suppliers. If they are not treated properly, i.e. paid on time, they will put the company on credit hold and not deliver any more goods or services. And without those goods or services, the organization will eventually grind to a halt. And if the company has no products to sell, well, it's out of business. While the simple answer might be to simply pay all invoices as they come in, that ignores the reality of duplicate invoices, incorrect invoices, and fraudulent invoices. So I alluded to earlier that I wanted to talk about the cash flow impact. Both functions impact cash flow, sometimes good, sometimes bad. If accounts receivable isn't collected in a timely manner, it will impact the cash flow negatively. Likewise, if payments are delayed, the accounts payable will improve cash flow, or at least temporarily. But of course, suppliers won't be happy, and then you have to be concerned that your GPO is going up. Conversely, paying suppliers early hurts cash flow. That is why occasionally you'll see organizations forego the early payment discount. Clearly, a good understanding of cash flow is critical to running an effective accounts payable or accounts receivable process. You can make sure you understand it thoroughly by clicking on the link that has appeared on your YouTube screen and is in the description. It will arm you with the information you need to do the best possible job and not unintentionally take an action that might harm your organization and your career. Good luck.